What's going on Internet? IG here again today. Today, by popular request, I'm looking at Pear OS version 7. Now, this week's video is just a quick interim video as I've had some issues getting Chromium OS up and running. So if you have any pointers about getting Chromium OS running inside a virtual machine, then let me know in the comments below. But moving right on to Pear OS 7, which is going to fill in for us this week, as I've gotten quite a few requests to have a look at this distribution. And I have looked at previous versions of Pear OS in the past, and basically, yes, it is a Mac OS X ripoff distribution based on Ubuntu, and for that there are quite a few of those out there. Having said that, this one has really distinguished itself in the tools and the app selection that it provides. It has varied a little bit over the last few releases, mainly 5, 6, and 7, and they had several point releases in point 6, which made it a bit more stable and a bit more sensible and customizable as far as the apps and things that they installed by default. And so, in that vein, we now have Pear OS 7, which kind of pulls all that together fairly succinctly. So first of all, it is based on Ubuntu 12.10, and they probably will update that when 13.04 rolls around. But first up, let's talk about the Pear utilities, as these are the things that are specific to Pear OS in a way. First of all, you have MyPear, which is a customization tool that you can use to customize what's on your desktop, what's in your dock, what's on your panel, what the different hot corners do, where you want the notifications to show up, and other miscellaneous ones. Now this is very good for a new user, as customizing these things isn't hard to do in Linux, but you are going to have to poke around and ask some questions on the internet if you want to customize every level of your system. So presenting this as an option which the average user can get a hold of is pretty dandy. Next up, it's worth mentioning Clean MyPear, and again, custom tool that is developed for the simple use of cleaning up any system junk that you might not want lying around on your system for too long. Very nice touch. And finally, the Pear Ppa Manager. And again, although this isn't too new as far as the Ppa Manager is concerned, they do manage to keep it looking very consistent with the rest of the Pear OS theme, and it does the job. Now, the default app launcher, you don't get any other way apart from Launchpad, which I'm not a big fan of, as many of you know, I'm a keyboard-driven sort of interface person, but nevertheless, this Launchpad-esque thing works. I will say that it is obviously a fork of Elementary's Slingshot launcher back in the day, and come to think of it, there are several things that the Pear OS team have borrowed from the Elementary team, but without really giving a whole lot of credit where credit's due. Obviously it is the nature of open source, but at the same time, if you're going to borrow another project's code, then it's always nice to give them a shout out, especially if you're going to then use it to mimic, obviously, a proprietary operating system. A good example of this would be the music player On Air. Again, I believe this is a fork of the Elementary team's music player Noise, and of course you can correct me if I'm wrong. But it does look pretty familiar, but having said that, it is a very nice inclusion and it's a great music player. So good customization there, but again, I think credit where credit is due is always nice. Good inclusion of default software here. You've got pretty much everything that covers the out-of-the-box needs, including codecs, Flash, LibreOffice, Shotwell, Firefox, VLC, the stock standards really, and a great inclusion here of Geary Mail Client. And it also has a nice little backup utility called Time Back. Now I'm assuming that this is one that has already been used in other distributions, but again it's got Pear OS's own branding and icons, etc. Now you'll notice that the launcher dock down on the bottom here looks pretty familiar, and a lot of the icons have been customized to fit in with the Pear OS theme, but where they haven't, they've just been slotted in with the Elementary icons. Of course you do have access to screensavers here, which is a nice touch, and the online account integration and all that fun stuff is here as per Ubuntu 12.10 should. It's also worth mentioning that VLC has a nice theme to it that fits in very nicely with the rest of the Pear OS theme, and I guess ultimately that's what the conclusion of this distribution means to me. The designers behind this operating system obviously have a good idea of what they want to achieve and how to achieve it, and they've pulled off a very nice look and feel here if the Macintosh OS is your thing. They've also got a nice notification center pop-up here on the top panel that over time as you collect notifications you can refer back to them here exactly how it is in OS X. And they have a nice little system info panel here when clicking on the Pear OS label up in the top left hand corner. And again, when it comes to managing software, you've got the Ubuntu Software Center to cover all of the open source software needs that you might have. Fairly solid performance, a little bit sluggish inside VirtualBox, but I don't think that is the fault of the distribution itself. Ubuntu 12.10 has long-standing issues with VirtualBox, but it's definitely the best Mac OS imitator that is out there right now. Definitely a good one to give to new users, but it's probably not one I'm going to be hanging on to for all that long. So thank you all for watching once again, and I'd like to give a major shout out to all of you subscribers who have just recently passed the 15,000 mark, which is a pretty impressive milestone for anyone, so thank you very much. We'll keep these videos coming as weekly as we possibly can. So of course, like the video if it helped you out, check out the links in the description, and also subscribe if you like this content on a regular basis. I will see you all very next week. Hopefully we can get this Chromium OS review happening, and as I do have a bit of free time coming up, the Gen 2 one is also going to be happening. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.